Skybox 41 is not for food staff. Dr. Nia Calder stopped at the glass door with playoff noise shaking the club corridor. Inside the suite, sponsors raised drinks toward the court. Behind the manager's shoulder, a small safety screen blinked amber beside one label. Exit C4. Clearance reduced. Nia saw it before he did. "My badge opens this skybox," she said. "Scan it on the safety reader." Declan Sloane looked at her gray raincoat, dusty flats, and the old referee whistle clipped to her canvas bag. Service staff wait by the linen carts. A few guests laughed. Nia held out the silver badge. "Wrong reader, wrong record." Declan smiled for the room, tapped a red command, and pressed her badge to the hospitality panel. Unauthorized service staff. Remove from premium area. The suite lights snapped white. Every club screen changed. Egress Integrity Hold. Controlled clear-out required. Down in the bowl, the jumbotron went black. Then, the arena began to empty. 3 hours earlier, Nia Calder heard a door lie. It was not a dramatic sound. No siren, no crash, just a thin metal click from exit C4, half a beat late under the thunder of a crowd entering Crown Gate Arena. Most people moving through the service level heard sneakers, drums, ticket scanners, vendors shouting about chicken baskets, and the deep pulse of a playoff night getting ready to become a memory. Nia heard the click. Magnetic latch override. Someone had told an exit door to behave like a private door. She stopped beside a freight elevator and looked down the corridor. Exit C4 sat past a stack of sponsor crates and 2 rolling tables covered in black cloth. A large acrylic display shaped like a sneaker leaned too close to the exit lane. Blue light from its base spilled across the floor. A young usher in a burgundy jacket noticed Nia staring. "Ma'am, club check-in is upstairs," the usher said. Nia looked at her name tag. Tessa Marr. "I'm trying to hear that door." Tessa blinked. "Hear it?" Exit C4, closed late. Tessa glanced over her shoulder. "It's been doing that since setup." "Since whose setup?" Tessa did not answer. Good, Nia thought. Fear was information too. She took one photo of the corridor, not close enough to make a scene, not far enough to be useless. Then she typed one note into her phone. C4 latch late. Sponsor display, inside clearance. 6:18 p.m. Crown Gate Arena held 19,000 people when every seat filled. Tonight, with playoff tickets, sponsor suites, courtside media, staff, and club guests, it would hold nearly all of them. People would see the court. Nia saw the exits. She had built Sentinel arc systems to make big venues tell the truth about crowds before crowds had to pay for the lie. Her company audited egress routes, badge access, emergency signage, door sensors, and command room procedure for arenas that wanted sold-out nights without admitting how fragile sold-out could be. Before she was a CEO, she had been a structural egress engineer. Before that, she had been the daughter of a referee who taught her that every whistle meant nothing if the lane was already blocked. Her father, Calvin Calder, worked high school basketball games for 26 years. During one packed regional final, the gym lost power and the crowd surged toward the doors. One side exit had been chained from outside. Calvin got 2 children out. He did not get himself out fast enough. The district report called it confusion. Nia saw the chain in the photo. Years later, she kept his old referee whistle in a clear case and made one promise over it. Never let safety language flatter powerful people while a lane stayed blocked. Clear the lane before you call the play. That was what Calvin used to say when players argued under the rim. Move the obstacle first, then decide who was right. The phrase became Nia's private rule. It shaped the way she worked. It also shaped the way she waited. At 6:21, her phone buzzed. Malik Arendt, Sentinel Arc's counsel, had sent a short message. In command room. Arena counsel nervous. Fire Marshal Cho scheduled halftime crowd flow observation. Premium corridor sponsor display, not in revised map. Need eyes, Nia replied. Already have them. He answered almost immediately. Do not start a war without me. She looked at exit C4 again. Not starting. Listening. At 6:26, Tessa Marr appeared beside the rolling linen carts, pretending to sort towels that did not need sorting. She was 22, maybe 23, with a tight ponytail, tired eyes, and a laminated seating chart tucked under one arm. "The club manager says suite guests are asking why someone is taking pictures near service," Tessa said. "Does the club manager have a name?" "Declan Sloane." "Does Declan know exit C4 was overridden after door lock time?" Tessa's mouth opened, then closed. There it was. Naya kept her voice low. "I'm not asking you to accuse him." Tessa looked at the sponsor display. He said the shoe wall had to stay for sightline. Sponsor paid for placement. "Sightline to what?" "The court. An exit is not a sightline." Tessa swallowed. Naya took the silver badge from the inside pocket of her raincoat. It was plain except for a thin stripe that caught the overhead light. Tessa's eyes moved to it. "You know what this is?" Nia said. "I think so." "What do you think?" "Safety audit credential. Silver stripe means authority credential, not hospitality." "Good." Tessa's fear sharpened. "Then you're Dr. Calder." "I am." Tessa looked toward the club staircase. "He said you weren't coming until halftime." "That is when I am expected." "Why come early?" Nia looked at the blocked exit. "To see what the building does before it knows it is being graded." Tessa's fingers tightened around the seating chart. "I printed something." Nia waited. "The door log, before Declan told operations to clean the report. I didn't know if it mattered." "It matters. It's in my clipboard." "Keep it there. If he finds it, I'm done." "What are you paying for with this job?" Tessa looked surprised. "Tuition. And rent. Mostly rent." "Then I'm not asking you to protect me." Nia touched the clear case holding the whistle. "Keep the lane open." Tessa looked at the whistle, then at exit C4. A family came around the service bend then, not lost exactly, but handled badly by the building. A father pushed a teenage boy in a narrow sport wheelchair while the boy held a foam finger across his lap. The public elevator had stopped between levels, and a volunteer had pointed them toward the club corridor as a shortcut. The chair reached the sponsor display and stopped, not because the boy was uncertain, because the lane narrowed so much that one wheel brushed the acrylic base while the other nearly rode up on the cable mat. "Can we go around?" the father asked. Tessa stepped forward. "Give me 1 second." She moved a rolling table 2 inches before a sponsor assistant snapped, "Don't touch the activation." The boy looked at the floor, embarrassed by needing space he should not have had to ask for. Nia felt the old anger again. Not hot this time. Cold. She crouched beside the chair. "What's your name?" "Eli," he said. "Eli, I'm going to take a picture of the floor, not you. Is that okay?" He nodded. Nia photographed the blocked lane, the cable mat, the chair angle, and the keep clear stripe hidden under branded lights. The sponsor assistant looked nervous. "Those placements are approved. By safety?" He hesitated. "By premium operations. Those are not the same." Tessa guided the father back and found a wider route through a service door. It took almost 2 minutes. In a normal exit flow, 2 minutes was not a delay. It was pressure. It was people stopping behind people, bodies turning sideways, shoulders meeting fear before anyone called it fear. When the family disappeared toward the elevator bank, Tessa whispered, "That happens every time the display comes out." "How many times is every time?" 3 games, maybe 4. Naya added another note. "Wheelchair cannot pass C4 sponsor lane. Witness, T. Marr, 629. Tessa looked at the note and swallowed. "Now you know why the door sounded wrong," Naya said. Before she could answer, a voice cut through the corridor. "Tessa, why are you holding up the level?" Declan Sloane descended from the club stairs in a navy suit that fit like a threat. He was polished in the way of men who expected rooms to adjust around them. A crown gate pin shone on his lapel. His radio sat high on his shoulder, volume loud enough to let everyone hear his importance. He looked at Nia without looking at her badge. "Ma'am, club guests use the escalator bank." "The escalator bank is backed up," Naya said. "Service path was open." For service personnel. I'm here for Skybox 41. Declan smiled. It was small. It was practiced. It invited the corridor to understand the joke before it was told. Skybox 41 is reserved for Crown Gate partners and executive guests. I know. Then you know this is not a public wandering area. I am not wandering. Your shoes suggest otherwise. Tessa's face changed. Nia felt the old heat rise, the heat that belonged to gym doors, soft reports, and men who called danger an inconvenience. She did not feed it. That was the first decision her promise shaped that night. Do not spend anger before evidence. She held up the badge. Scan this on a safety reader. Declan glanced at it. Not long enough. Hospitality can verify upstairs. Safety reader, Nia repeated. Declan looked at Tessa. Return to your post. Tessa did not move fast enough. His voice dropped. Now! She stepped back. That was his first chance to stop. He did not take it. At 6:39, Nia was escorted to the club level, not by security, but by Declan walking half a step ahead, as if granting her temporary permission to exist. The corridor opened into a premium concourse with carpet underfoot, framed photos on the walls, and glass doors leading into skyboxes. The noise from the bowl came muffled here. Up here, even crowd noise had padding. At the end of the corridor, a sponsor crew was still adjusting the giant acrylic sneaker display. The display's base crossed a striped floor zone marked "Keep Clear" in letters no one could claim not to see. Two men pushed it 3 inches closer to exit C4 to improve its angle toward the suite cameras. Declan pointed. Careful, the logo needs to face the lounge. Nia stopped. That exit lane is blocked. It is decorated. It is reduced by almost half. It passes guest comfort. Guest comfort is not the code. Declan turned. You seem to know many things. I know doors. He laughed softly. Everyone knows doors. No, we will also have doors. Everyone can Samsung and services tongue. Also, the rules that in case you should take tiny fewer minutes and some say yours in the school. Being the beautiful bonus. During didn't. Isn't this and this and A young sponsor assistant looked up from a cable coil. The line landed somewhere he did not expect. Declan heard the same thing and disliked it. At the sponsor display, the young assistant with the cable coil tried again to pull the base back from the stripe. Declan saw him. Leave it. It's over the letters, the assistant said. The camera does not read floor letters. People do. Declan turned fully. The assistant's courage lasted about 2 seconds under that stare. What is your name? Rory. Rory, do you work for Arena Safety? No. Do you work for Premium Partnerships? No. Then your job is to make sure that logo shines and nobody trips on your cables. Rory looked down at the cable mat that was already forcing people left. Nia stepped closer. Rory, who told you to cover the stripe? His eyes moved from Nia to Declan. Declan answered for him. No one covered anything. We adjusted staging. Staging that narrows the exit. Temporarily. Temporary obstructions kill permanent people. The words landed hard enough that Rory stopped breathing for a second. Declan smiled as if she had become rude in a language he spoke fluently. You are very dramatic for someone without a seat. Nia looked at the acrylic sneaker, the cable mat, the amber light on the small safety screen, and Rory's face. The building kept giving her witnesses. It also kept giving Declan exits. He kept walking past them. Skybox 41, he said, gesturing toward a glass door. Let's resolve your confusion. Well, inside, Suite 41 was warm with catered food, leather chairs, a private bar, and people who had paid or been invited to watch a game without smelling the crowd. A camera crew stood near the back wall. A live stream host whispered into a headset. In the front row, a gray-haired man in a team jacket watched the court with his hands folded over a cane. Coach Lionel Briggs. Nia recognized him from a stadium safety conference 10 years earlier. He had once stopped a charity game because a photographer blocked a wheelchair ramp. The clip became a minor embarrassment for the venue and a major lesson for everyone else. He looked up when Nia entered. Recognition moved across his face. Declan stepped between them. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "forgive the interruption. We have a service access issue." Nia said, "No, you have a safety access issue." A woman in a white blazer looked up from the bar. "Is this about the food?" Declan smiled toward her. "No, Ms. Vale. Just staff misrouting." Nia looked at him. "Say that again after you scan the badge." Declan's eyes narrowed. The suite heard it now. The game could not compete with status conflict in the room. A sponsor executive near the window whispered, "Who is she?" Declan answered before Nia could. "Someone trying to use inspection language to access premium space." Coach Briggs spoke from the front row. "That is Dr. Nia Calder." The room shifted. Declan's smile held, but it had to work harder. Coach Briggs continued, "Sentinel Arc, arena safety. If she says scan the badge, scan the badge." Declan's face cooled. "Coach, with respect, we have procedures." "With respect," the coach said, "I have seen bad procedures kill good knights." That was Declan's second chance to stop. He did not take it. He turned to Nia. "Do you have a hospitality pass?" "No, I have an Egress Authority badge," which means nothing to a suite host. It means something to the building. Declan laughed for the room. "The building does not run my club level." Nia looked through the suite glass at the packed bowl below. That is the problem. At 6:47, the second insult became a record. Declan lifted his radio. "Club control to premium security. We have an unverified black female staff member disturbing Suite 41 and refusing to use service access. Prepare removal." Silence followed on the channel. Then a voice answered, "Copy. Unverified staff." Nia watched two guests react to the phrasing. One looked down, one looked away. Coach Briggs did neither. Declan lowered the radio. The false report had preserved itself. Nia could call Malik. She could call Fire Marshal Hana Cho. She could say, "Chief Executive Officer," and watch every face rearrange. She did not. That was the second decision her promise shaped. Let the room record what the man chose. She set her canvas bag on the floor. Declan pointed at it. "Check that." A security guard reached for it, then hesitated. His badge read, Owen Pike. Nia looked at Owen. "Are you taking custody of my technical bag?" He glanced at Declan. Declan said, "We are clearing a potential obstruction. My bag is against my leg. You are obstructing premium flow." Nia let Owen take the bag. Not because she agreed, because the hallway camera above the suite door saw Declan point, Owen lift, and the bag leave her hand. Inside the clear case clipped to the side, her father's whistle tapped once against plastic. That tiny sound hurt more than the insult. Declan noticed and smiled. "Sentimental?" he asked. "Procedural," Nia said. At 6:51, Tessa appeared in the suite doorway, breathing a little too fast. "Mr. Sloane," she said, "Command asked if exit C4 is still in sponsor configuration." Declan turned slowly. "Why would Command ask you that? They pinged club level." "No, Tessa. Why would they ask you?" She looked at Nia, then down at her clipboard. Declan saw the look. "What is in your hand?" "Seating updates." "Give it to me." Tessa held the clipboard tighter. Nia said quietly, "Tessa, do not move unless there is a safety order." Declan snapped, "Do not instruct my staff. I am instructing a witness." That word changed the suite. Witness. It made the livestream host lower her microphone. It made the sponsor executive near the window stop chewing. It made Declan step closer to Tessa. "Give me the clipboard." Tessa felt the printed log inside it like heat. If Declan found it, he would say she violated chain of command. If the arena backed him, her tuition plan would collapse by Monday. His hand opened. Tessa slid one sheet free and folded it into the arena map under her arm. Her fingers shook so hard the paper scratched. Then she handed him the clipboard and prayed he did not hear the truth moving. He flipped through it. Nothing useful. His eyes cut back to her. "You think you are clever?" "No," Tessa said, barely audible. That was true. She was terrified. Courage often is. At 6:57, the sponsor problem arrived wearing a red velvet blazer. Martin Creel, regional president of a beverage sponsor, entered Suite 41 with 3 guests and the expression of a man who believed contracts were for other people to feel. Behind him, 2 attendants carried a branded tabletop display and a cooler shaped like a gold trophy. Declan brightened instantly. "Mr. Creel." Perfect timing. Martin looked around. "Why is there a staff issue in my suite?" Nia looked at the room number on the glass. "Your suite?" He ignored her. Declan lowered his voice, but not enough. "We're clearing it now. Your activation sightline is set at C4. Coach Briggs turned his head. "Activation sightline?" Martin waved one hand. "Sponsor display. It photographs better by the exit. Empty doors look ugly on camera." Nia stared at him. Empty doors look ugly. Her father had died near an ugly door because someone preferred a gym to look full. Nia said, "Move the display." Martin blinked. "Excuse me?" "Move the display away from exit C4. Declan stepped in. "She does not speak for the venue." Nia held his eyes. "Then scan the badge and prove it." "Oh." Martin laughed. "I have no idea who this woman is, but I love the confidence." Coach Briggs rose slowly with his cane. "You should learn who she is." Declan's face tightened. "Coach, please enjoy the game." "I was." That line landed. Down on the court, a timeout horn sounded, music blasted, the crowd rose for a t-shirt toss. For 10 seconds, everyone outside the suite cheered, while everyone inside watched a door argument become something heavier. Declan moved to the access panel beside the suite door. "There are 2 readers," Nia said. "Hospitality on the right, safety on the left. I know my own level. You know who gets free drinks? That is not the same thing." A few suite guests inhaled. Declan opened the admin screen on the hospitality reader. Nia saw the menu reflected in the glass. Guest access, vendor timing, service overflow, remove from premium area. He selected service overflow. Nia said, "Do not change my badge status." "Your badge has no status here." "Then it would not bother you to use the safety reader." He turned to the suite. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this disturbance. Some people confuse a contractor credential with executive access." That was his 3rd chance to stop. He did not take it. He selected remove from premium area. Then he pressed Nia's silver badge to the hospitality reader. For half a second, nothing happened. Declan smiled. Then the reader gave a low tone unlike any door tone in the arena. Not a beep. A warning note. The suite lights snapped white. The television screens went black. The private bar register froze mid-transaction. In the corridor, magnetic locks clicked in a wave, not closing people in, but opening exits outward and locking premium doors one way. The game horn cut off. A command voice came through every speaker in the club level. "Attention, Egress Integrity Hold is active. Remain calm. Follow staff instructions. Controlled clear-out required." Declan stared at the panel. The words appeared on the suite screen. Egress Authority Badge detected. Authorized Safety Principle downgraded. Door log mismatch active. Controlled clear-out required. For one full second, the suite seemed to forget how to breathe. Then the bowl below reacted. The jumbotron flashed dark, then blue. Egress Integrity Hold. Please remain calm. Section by section exiting will begin. 18,000 people looked up. The arena began to empty. Not all at once. Not in panic. The building was too well designed for that, even if the people running the club level had forgotten why. Ushers opened aisle lanes. Public address instructions moved section by section. Court officials stopped play. Players gathered near their benches, looking up at the board. The crowd noise changed from excitement to concern, then to the low shuffle of controlled movement. In section 212, A mother lifted her daughter onto her hip and looked at the nearest usher for permission to be afraid. The usher did the most important thing a person in a burgundy jacket could do. He did not run. He pointed with an open hand toward the aisle and said, "This row after the next row. Stay together." The mother nodded. In the accessible seating platform above section 118, the father Nia had seen earlier kept one hand on Eli's wheelchair and watched the crowd separate into lanes. A staff member held the gate open. This time the chair did not scrape anything. This time the path was wide before the family reached it. On the court, a player took off his warm-up jacket, then put it back on because there was nowhere useful for his hands. A referee stood near mid-court, eyes on the exits, whistle resting against his chest. Nia noticed that. She always noticed referees. A building under stress reveals who understands lanes. It also reveals who thinks a blocked path is someone else's problem. The arena was not panicking because hundreds of small choices were still going right. Ushers holding rows, staff repeating instructions, parents waiting, fans complaining but moving. That was why one blocked corridor could not be ignored. It took many good choices to keep a crowd safe. It took only one protected lie to undo them. Declan whispered, "What did you do?" Nia took her badge back from the reader. "I let you tell the building what you thought I was." The suite door clicked open from inside. Owen returned with Nia's bag in both hands. He looked pale. "Dr. Calder," he said, voice uneven. "Command wants you." Declan's eyes snapped to him. "Do not call her that." Owen looked at the screen. "It says Dr. Calder." The suite guests turned toward Nia. The screen updated. Dr. Nia Calder, Chief Executive Officer, Sentinel Arc Systems, Authorized Egress Principal. Martin Creel lowered his drink. Declan looked at the old whistle case clipped to the bag. "You're the vendor CEO," he said. Nia looked at exit C4 through the glass. "No," she said. "I am the person you tried to remove from a blocked exit." That did more damage than the title. At 7:04, the command room came alive around the wrong kind of silence. Rows of screens showed the bowl, concourses, stairwells, exterior plazas, door sensors, and the club corridor. The court sat frozen on the center display, players waiting as the playoff broadcast tried to explain a safety hold without knowing the cause. Malik Arendt stood at the back table with arena counsel, a woman named Petra Voss, who looked like she had just aged 3 years. Beside them was Fire Marshal Hannah Cho, small, precise, and still in her Navy inspection jacket. She had arrived early. "Good." A safety director at the console said, "Controlled clear-out sequence is active. Lower bowl holding. Upper concourse moving first. Club level frozen, except outbound egress." Hannah Cho looked at Nia. "Are you safe?" "Yes." "Was your badge downgraded?" "Yes." "By whom?" Nia looked at Declan, who had been brought into the room by premium security and no longer looked like he owned any corridor. Declan Sloane selected service overflow and remove from premium area on the hospitality reader, she said. He ignored a safety reader instruction. Hannah looked at the console. "Show the proof." The technician split the screen in 3. On the first screen, Nia's badge record appeared. Authorized safety principal, downgraded to service overflow. User D. Sloane. Hannah pointed at it. Badge downgrade. The second screen showed exit C4. Door override. User D. Sloane. Reason, sponsor, sightline adjustment, clear width reduction, 42%. Door override, Hannah said. Same user. Tessa stepped forward and handed Malik the folded printout. The paper was warm from her hand. Malik placed it in an evidence sleeve. The technician compared it to the live report, and the third screen turned red. Original log. Safety review required. Current log. No safety review pending. Hannah looked at Declan. You did not clear a corridor, she said. You cleaned a record. Declan spoke too quickly. That was temporary. Club staff were monitoring the area. Hannah turned to the C4 camera feed. The acrylic sneaker display crossed the exit lane. 2 rolling tables sat beside it. A cable mat forced people toward the wall. Hannah asked one question. "Would you send a child through that door right now?" Declan opened his mouth. No answer came. There it was. The building had answered. Malik spoke into the silence. The Sentinel Crown Gate Agreement triggers a completion hold when an Egress Authority badge is improperly downgraded during an active door log mismatch. Petra said, "Can we narrow the clear-out?" Hannah did not answer her. She looked at the live crowd map. Naya watched too. Upper sections were moving. Lower bowl held. Club outbound lanes were flowing, though slowly. Exit C4 stayed red. "We narrow after C4 is cleared," Hannah said. "Until then, controlled evacuation continues." Petra swallowed. The broadcast can wait," Hannah said. That settled it. At 7:17, Nia stood with Hannah in the club corridor while arena staff dismantled the sponsor display. The giant acrylic sneaker did not look glamorous anymore. It looked heavy, foolish, and in the way. 2 workers unscrewed the base. A sponsor assistant gathered branded cables. Martin Creel watched from 10 feet away, pale with anger and calculation. "Careful with that," he snapped. "It costs more than your month." One worker froze. Nia turned. "Say that again into the safety log." Martin did not. Coach Briggs, leaning on his cane, smiled without humor. Tessa stood near the wall, holding a radio with both hands. Hannah had assigned her to call clear status when the lane opened, not because Tessa was senior, because Tessa had preserved the record and now deserved to see the lane clear. Declan stood beside a premium security guard, no longer allowed to touch panels. He watched the display move inch by inch. Nia looked at him. "Why did you enter sponsor sightline adjustment?" He stared at the floor. "Director selection is next month," Tessa said quietly. Declan's eyes cut toward her. She flinched, then continued. "He said premium experience score had to stay clean. Blocked exit alerts count against operations. Sponsor photos count for revenue." Martin stepped in. "Our brand never asked anyone to endanger guests." Tessa looked at the stripe on the floor where the display had been. "The activation map had your logo printed over the exit lane," she said. The corridor went quiet. Martin looked at Petra. Petra did not rescue him. That was enough. The sponsor had not needed to say block the exit. The map had said it for him. At 7:24, the display cleared the stripe. The sensor changed from red to amber. A worker pulled the cable mat. Amber became green. Exit C4 closed and opened with a clean magnetic release. A proper click. Nia heard it. So did Tessa, because she looked at Nia before the screen changed. "C4 clear," Tessa said into the radio. Her voice shook, but it carried. The command room answered. "C4 clear confirmed. Continue outbound flow. Prepare hold reassessment." Nia reached into her bag and removed the clear plastic case. The old whistle lay inside, black cord faded, metal dull at the mouthpiece. She opened the case. For a moment, the corridor noise faded. Her father's whistle had once stopped games. It had started them. It had called fouls, timeouts, jump balls, and sometimes mercy. It had hung around his neck when he went back into a gym for 2 children. Nia lifted it. She did not blow it to accuse. She blew it once to test the lane. The sound cut down the newly cleared corridor, sharp, clean, unobstructed. Tessa's eyes filled. Nia lowered the whistle. "Clear the lane before you call the play." Tessa nodded, as if the sentence had given her something to hold. At 7:31, the arena was half empty. The broadcast cameras found crowd lines moving out in orderly streams. Commentators stopped speculating and began reading the official statement. Crown Gate Arena has activated a controlled safety clear-out due to an Egress Integrity Hold in the club level. Attendees are asked to follow staff instructions. Refund and ticket credit information will follow. People would complain later. Of course they would. A suspended playoff game became outrage before the night ended. Fans would post videos. Sponsors would call executives. Reporters would ask if the whole arena really had to empty over one blocked corridor. Nia knew the answer. You do not wait for a crush to prove a door mattered. At 7:39, the command room confirmed full controlled evacuation. No major injuries. 2 panic complaints treated. 1 child separated and reunited at Gate B. 4 mobility guests routed safely through the accessible lane after C4 cleared. The court stood empty under lights too bright for a silent arena. The suites emptied last. Skybox 41 looked smaller without guests, cameras, and drinks. Food sat cooling under silver lids. The private bar screen stayed frozen on safety hold. On the glass door, the hospitality reader blinked red. The safety reader beside it blinked steady green. Declan stood in the doorway with Hannah, Petra, Malik, Nia, Tessa, and Coach Briggs. Hannah read the initial findings aloud, not for drama, but for record. Improper downgrade of authorized safety principle. False radio report. Door log alteration. Active obstruction of exit C4. Sponsor display placed inside egress clearance. Controlled clear-out justified. Declan said, I never intended an evacuation. Nia looked at him. That is why doors do not measure intention. Coach Briggs tapped his cane once. They measure space. Hannah continued. Mr. Sloane is removed from club-level control pending investigation. His access credentials are suspended. Crown Gate remains under safety hold until Sentinel Arc and Fire Marshal review the premium corridor reset. Petra Voss said, Crown Gate will cooperate. Malik looked at her. Crown Gate will preserve all logs, camera angles, radio traffic, sponsor activation maps, and access edits. Petra nodded. Yes. Booms. At 8:06, Nia used the command room table the way she preferred to use any room after a failure, to build a repair. The playoff game was suspended. The arena was empty. Outside, fans moved through rain toward parking decks and train platforms, angry, confused, safe. Safe mattered first. On the main screen, Nia opened the crowd flow map. Red zones marked blocked lanes. Yellow zones marked delayed response. Green showed clean exit paths. Exit C4 pulsed yellow because its physical lane was cleared, but its logs were not yet trusted. Tessa sat beside Hannah, still in her usher jacket, hands wrapped around a paper cup of water. Declan was gone from the room. Without him, the air seemed less glossy. Nia wrote 4 protocol changes on the board. No sponsor display inside exit clearance. Door overrides require dual safety authorization. Silver egress badge cannot be downgraded by hospitality staff. False staff status reports trigger automatic evidence preservation. Malik looked at the last line. That one will make people nervous. Good. Petra Voss rubbed her forehead. We will need sponsor approval. Hannah looked at her. Petra corrected herself. We will notify sponsors. Better, Hannah said. Nia turned to Tessa. You know why the system caught the badge? Because Declan downgraded you during a mismatch. Yes, the badge did not empty the arena by itself. The badge asked whether the building was safe to keep full. And the building said no. Exactly. Tessa stared at the crowd map. I almost gave him the real clipboard. But you didn't. I wanted to. That is not a crime. I was scared. That is not a crime either. Tessa looked at the old whistle on the table. Your dad was a referee? Yes. Did he like arenas? He liked fair lanes. Tessa nodded slowly. At 8:44, Hannah Cho issued the formal safety hold. Crown Gate could not reopen for ticketed events until exit C4, club-level activation rules, access hierarchy, and log integrity passed review. Declan's access was suspended. Sponsor placements were frozen. Martin Creel's activation team was ordered to remove all displays before the morning inspection. No one was ruined for spectacle. The consequences were proportional. The arena lost a game night because it had treated an exit-like decoration. Declan lost control of the club level because he had confused premium image with authority. The sponsor lost its perfect photo because it had tried to buy the wrong space. What they did not lose was a crowd. That mattered more. At 9:12, Tessa found Nia in the quiet bowl. The arena seats rose around them in dark rows. The court lights had been dimmed. A few cleaning staff moved across the upper aisles like ghosts after a storm. Without fans, Crown Gate looked less like a cathedral and more like a machine with its casing removed. Naya stood near the baseline, looking toward Section C. Tessa came down the steps slowly. Fire Marshal Cho said I'm protected as a witness. She means it. She also said there is an arena safety apprenticeship. There is. Did you tell her to say that? No. Tessa looked relieved and disappointed at the same time. Nia smiled. I told her you knew where the log was. That was enough. Tessa sat 2 seats away. My mom is going to ask why I got on television during a playoff evacuation. What will you tell her? That I did not get fired. Start there. They sat quietly. Then Tessa asked, Does it feel good? What? Being right. Nia looked at the empty court. No. Tessa seemed surprised. It feels heavy, Nia said. Right is what you hope you are before someone tests the door. Afterward, you mostly wish you had been wrong. Tessa looked toward the tunnel. But you saved people. We prevented a risk from becoming a body count. That is not the same as saving. It is quieter. People resent it more. Why do it? Nia touched the whistle case. Because my father went back through a bad door. Tessa did not answer. She did not need to. At 10:03, Nia walked the club corridor one more time. Exit C-4 stood fully clear. No display, no cable mat, no rolling table. The keep clear letters on the floor looked almost too simple to have required an emptied arena. Hana stood with a tablet, checking sensor response. Clean click, Nia said. I heard it. Tomorrow? Full inspection, then conditional reopening if they stop treating sponsors like weather. Nia almost laughed. Sponsors are weather. Then build roofs. Tessa arrived carrying a stack of temporary signs printed from the command room. A premium guest is never worth a blocked exit. She taped one beside the club desk, another near the sponsor staging room, another beside exit C4. Her hands shook less each time. Coach Briggs appeared at the end of the corridor, leaning on his cane. I came to see the door, Hana said. It opens. Good. I prefer doors with manners. He looked at Nia. Your father would have liked that whistle test. Nia glanced at him. Coach Briggs shrugged. Referees understand sound. If it carries clean, the lane is clear. Nia looked down the corridor where the whistle had echoed. For the first time that night, the thought of her father did not arrive as grief. It arrived as instruction. At 6:30 the next morning, Crown Gate Arena opened its club level to inspectors, not guests. No cameras, no champagne, no sponsor music. The acrylic sneaker display was gone. Exit C4 opened and closed every time Hana tested it. The magnetic latch released in the correct beat. Tessa stood with a clipboard, no hidden paper this time. Everything on it was meant to be read. Malik reviewed the badge hierarchy with Arena Council. Petra signed the preservation notice. Martin Creel's company sent an apology no one called heartfelt and everyone called useful. Declan was not there. Nia did not ask where he was. Revenge was not the work. At 7:12, Hana handed Tessa a temporary trainee badge. Observation only, Hana said. Tessa held it like something fragile. Nia pointed to the silver stripe. Different badge, different authority. Tessa smiled. I know. Safety reader, not hospitality. Good. Hana opened exit C4 and nodded down the clear corridor. Call it. Tessa looked at Nia. Nia removed her father's whistle from its case and placed it in Tessa's hand. Just once, Nia said. For the lane. Tessa lifted the whistle, hesitated, then blew. The sound traveled clean to the stairwell and back. No obstruction, no delay, no lie in the door. Tessa lowered it. Nia said, Clear the lane before you call the play. Tessa handed the whistle back with both hands. At noon, the arena released a statement about a controlled safety clearout, ticket credits, and renewed egress protocols. Fans argued online. Sponsors complained in private. Reporters asked whether one blocked corridor justified clearing a whole arena. Nia did not answer every question. She watched a maintenance worker roll a cart near exit C4, see the new sign, and change direction without being told. He was not part of the investigation. He would never be named in a report. He simply saw the sign, remembered the empty arena from the night before, and chose the longer path. That was how culture changed when cameras left. Not with one speech, with a cart turning around. That was the repair cameras usually missed. A person almost blocked a lane, then did not. No announcement praised him. No executive saw it. The lane stayed clear anyway. That was the quiet win Nia trusted most of all. Before Declan pressed remove, the Skybox had already chosen what mattered: the sponsor's view, the manager's pride, or the blocked door no one wanted to discuss. In the comments, tell me which act matters most before a crowd is at risk: saving the original log, asking which door a child could use, or refusing to laugh when safety is treated like status. This story is a fictional dramatization. The people, companies, arena, team, and events are invented, but the question is real anywhere a gatekeeper mistakes appearance for authority, and a badge has to remind the room that safety outranks status.